What if I told you there's a single company, founded just 13 years ago, in a farming village in China that most people can't even find on a map, that now controls nearly 40% of every EV battery on the planet? Tesla, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Ford, they all come to this company with their hands out. And the US Pentagon? They're so scared of it, they put it on a military blacklist. This is CATL. And whether you own an EV or not, this company is already shaping your future. It starts with a peasant's kid from Ningdi, China. Robin Zeng was born in 1968 in one of the poorest farming villages in Fujian province. His parents were subsistence farmers. The kind of place where, as one writer put it, the image of farmers in pointy hats tilling rice fields risked looking like a cheap Hollywood stereotype. Zeng was brilliant. He clawed his way into Shanghai Jiaotong University, majored in shipbuilding, of all things, and quickly proved he was made for something bigger. He got a job at SAE Magnetics, a subsidiary of Japanese giant TDK. He became the youngest director of engineering they'd ever had. Then his bosses sent him abroad to study batteries, specifically the revolutionary lithium-ion cell that Sony had just commercialized in the early 90s. That trip changed everything. Zeng saw what nobody else saw yet. Lithium-ion batteries were going to eat the world. In 1999, he made his first big gamble. He quit TDK, flew to the US, licensed battery technology from Bell Labs, and co-founded a company called CATL. They made batteries for phones, laptops, consumer electronics. It worked. So well, in fact, that by 2005, Japanese giant TDK bought a TL. Zeng stayed on as CEO. But he wasn't done gambling. By 2009, China's government had a problem. Its cities were choking on smog. Beijing's airpocalypse, a thick, toxic haze that blanketed cities, was a national emergency. Their answer? Electric vehicles. And they threw billions in subsidies at anyone who could build them domestically. Zeng spotted the window. In 2011, he spun off a TL's EV battery division, returned to his hometown of Ningdi, the very farming village he'd escaped decades earlier, and founded Contemporary Amperex Technology Co., Limited, CATL, in Chinese, Ningdi's era. Not a coincidence. A declaration. The early years were brutal. But then, just 1 year after founding, CATL landed a partnership with BMW. The German engineering giant validated the technology. Doors flew open. Here's where it gets strategic. China mandated that foreign automakers who wanted access to the world's largest car market had to source batteries from approved domestic suppliers. Tesla, which relied on Panasonic, had no choice. They came to CATL, and once Tesla came, everyone else followed. Let's talk scale, because it's almost hard to believe. Today, CATL holds nearly 40% of the entire global EV battery market. Their closest competitor, BYD, is at 16%. The number 3 player, LG Energy Solution of South Korea, is a distant third. To put it another way, CATL alone produces more EV batteries than the rest of the world combined, almost. In 2025, they installed 464 gigawatt-hours of batteries worldwide, a 36% jump in a single year. The global EV battery market just crossed 1,000 gigawatt-hours for the first time ever, and CATL swallowed 39% of it. They supply Tesla, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Ford, Stellantis, Toyota, Hyundai. The list reads like a global auto industry roll call. They operate 15 manufacturing plants worldwide, in China, Germany, Hungary, and counting. They've announced a $5 billion Hong Kong IPO to fund expansion into Spain, Indonesia, and beyond. And they just posted a 49% jump in first quarter profit in 2026. This isn't a startup story anymore. This is an empire. Here's why this story is bigger than batteries. In January 2025, the US Pentagon added CATL to its blacklist of Chinese military companies. The move was pushed by Marco Rubio, now Secretary of State. The U.S. accused CATL of ties to the People's Liberation Army. CATL's response? They called it a mistake. Their CEO Robin Zeng joked that batteries are, quote, dumb as bricks and useless for espionage. They've launched legal challenges and sent executives to Washington to argue their case. Here's the uncomfortable reality. It doesn't matter. Because here's what the Pentagon can't ban: physics, chemistry, manufacturing scale. The Western world is scrambling. Europe bet billions on Sweden's Northvolt. It went bankrupt. The U.S. tried to build its own supply chain. It's years behind. South Korean companies like LG and Samsung are capable, but nowhere close to CATL scale. 6 Chinese battery companies now control 69% of the global EV battery market. Let that sink in. The EV revolution, the thing every government on Earth is mandating by the 2030s, runs almost entirely on Chinese supply chains. And CATL sits at the very top. CATL isn't resting. They're already inventing the next era: sodium-ion batteries. Batteries that charge from 0 to 80% in 10 minutes. A battery rated for 1 million miles. A solid-state condensed battery. A battery swapping standard they call ChocoSwap, partnering with 10 automakers on 20 car models. They're not just building batteries. They're building the infrastructure of the electric age. Here's the bottom line. The 21st century runs on energy storage. Whoever controls batteries controls transportation, controls electricity grids, controls decarbonization, controls geopolitics. And right now, from a former farming village in Fujian province, a peasant's son who never stopped gambling has built the company that controls all of it. CATL. Remember the name. If this story blew your mind, like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Do you think the West can ever catch up to CATL? Let's debate it below.